What if a river could divide a nation as much as it connected it? Not simply marking a boundary, but shaping how that boundary was understood. Because along the Tweed, the line between England and Scotland was never just a line. The River Tweed flows eastward from the Scottish borders into the North Sea, tracing part of the frontier between two historic kingdoms. Its course is not entirely fixed as a boundary, but for long stretches it had served as a natural dividing line. This positioning gave the river a significance that went beyond geography. It was not simply a route through the landscape. It was a place where authority, identity and control were negotiated. The Tweed did not just separate territories, it defined a space where those territories met. In the early medieval period, the region around the Tweed was not a fixed borderland in the modern sense. Kingdoms such as Northumbria extended across what would later become the Anglo-Scottish boundary, and control shifted over time. The river lay within a zone of interaction rather than division. Power was contested, alliances changed, and the idea of a clear national boundary had yet to take hold. The Tweed was part of this fluid landscape, its role shaped by movements of rulers and armies rather than by any permanent line on the map. From the 12th century onwards, the distinction between England and Scotland became more defined. Treaties, conflicts and political developments gradually established the Tweed as part of a recognised frontier. This process was not smooth. Control of territory along the river shifted repeatedly, and the border itself remained subject to dispute. The Tweed became associated with the idea of separation, even as that separation was contested. It marked a transition from one authority to another, but it did not eliminate interaction between them. As you're still walking with me, you can support this channel by dropping me a like. Thanks. The borderlands around the Tweed became known for instability, particularly during periods of conflict between England and Scotland. Raiding was a persistent feature of life in the region. Groups such as the Border Reivers operated across the frontier, taking advantage of the river's position to move between jurisdictions. The Tweed in this context was not a barrier. It was part of a landscape that allowed movement and evasion. For those living in the region, identity was often shaped less by national allegiance and more by local ties and survival within a contested environment. Settlements along the Tweed reflected this duality. Places such as Berwick-upon-Tweed experienced repeated changes in control, shifting between English and Scottish rule multiple times during the medieval period. These changes were not abstract. They affected governance, law, and daily life. A resident of Berwick might find themselves under different authority within a single lifetime. The river, flowing past the town, became a symbol of this uncertainty, a constant presence in a landscape of change. When a border shifts repeatedly, what does it mean for the people who live there? Does identity follow the line on the map, or does it develop independently of it? The Tweed raises this question directly. Share your thoughts down in the comments, because the experience of borderlands often challenges the idea of fixed national identity. Efforts to control the borderlands led to the development of systems designed to manage conflict. March law, for example, governed relations between England and Scotland in these regions, establishing procedures for addressing disputes and cross-border crime. Wardens were appointed on both sides to enforce order. These systems recognised a practical reality. The border could not simply be imposed, it had to be managed. The Tweed was central to this process, forming part of the space in which these legal and administrative structures operated. The union of the English and Scottish crowns in 1603 under James VI and I marked a turning point. With both kingdoms under a single monarch, the nature of the border began to change. While the river remained a geographical feature, its role in the site of conflict diminished. The borderlands were gradually integrated into a more unified political structure. This did not erase local identities, but it reduced the significance of the Tweed as a dividing line in terms of governance and warfare. By the way, if you subscribe to the channel, there's a whole back catalogue of videos like this for you to enjoy. Over time, the Tweed shifted from being a contested frontier to a more stable boundary. Its significance became less about conflict and more about identity and heritage. The river is now associated with a shared history between England and Scotland, rather than an active division. Its surroundings are known for their natural beauty, fishing traditions, and historical sites. The sense of tension that once defined the region has largely given way to a sense of continuity. Today, the Tweed remains a border in a formal sense, but its meaning has changed. It's part of a landscape that reflects both division and connection. People cross it without the barriers that once defined it, and the region functions as a part of a broader national framework. The river continues to flow through towns and countryside, shaped by centuries of interaction. Its history is still present, but it's no longer dominant. The Tweed has become less a line of separation and more a reminder of how such lines are created and transformed. If the Tweed shows a river can both divide and connect, what does that suggest about the nature of borders themselves? Are they fixed realities, or are they shaped by the conditions of the time? Because the history of the Tweed suggests even the most defined boundaries are, in the end, subject to change. And now YouTube has chosen this video for you to watch next. Have a look, I think you'll enjoy it. If you've dinged the bell, you'll be notified of all new episodes so you don't miss any. Thanks for walking a little further along the road that made Britain with me. Bye.